Under one of my previous videos, there's a comment with 483 likes, 54 replies, and it's just one sentence. They never teach us how to be civilians again. That's it. That's the whole comment, and half the veterans watching this nodded. And here's the thing, this isn't just a retirement problem. Look at who's actually in that reply thread. A guy who's 18 months out, a guy 7 years into a second career he ended up walking away from, a guy who did 26 years, then 8 more years in law enforcement before he finally stopped. So it's fresh out, still working, fully retired, completely different lives, and they all hit the same wall. Because the wall was never about how long you've been out. It shows up whenever the tempo finally drops. For some folks, that's the first month after separation. For some, it's the day the second career ends 30 years later. And the slowdown is what breaks people, not the transition itself. The moment it finally gets quiet. Once you understand why, it stops looking like a personal failure and it starts looking exactly like what it is: missing training. If we haven't met, I'm Dr. Prashant Sharma, psychiatrist, former Air Force flight surgeon. I've spent years helping veterans understand what's going on inside their own minds. Now, if you're a subscriber, do me a favor and hit that like button so we can push this out to more veterans who need it. Let me read you what's underneath that comment because it's important and the replies are the real video. A Marine, 26 years in, then 8 more years in law enforcement. He calls it retiring retired, as in this time for real. And he says the thing he cannot handle is the slowdown, not the crisis, but the absence of a crisis. Then we have a Navy pilot, 18 months out. What wrecked him for months wasn't combat memories, it was a home remodel. His words, 10 small annoyances a day, every day, and no way to metabolize any of them. And then a 21-year infantry NCO who quit a job he loved after 7 years. Not because he couldn't do the job, but because he couldn't handle the small stuff anymore, and he was scared of what would happen if he snapped at the wrong moment. So he removed himself first. 26 years, 18 months, 7 years into a second career, completely different timelines, but same wall. By the end of this video, you'll know why more free time makes it worse, why that second career in law enforcement or corrections didn't fix anything. It just moved the bill that later became due, and also what to actually do about all this, whether you're 18 months out or 30 years out. Okay, so think about what the military actually did to you on purpose. Basic training, tech school, every field exercise, deployment workup, all of it was designed to move your nervous system in one direction, up. Faster threat detection, compressed decision loops, the ability to function while exhausted, hungry, and getting yelled at. That's not an accident, that's the product, that's the mission. The military spent months, years, building a person who runs hot and performs anyway. And yes, that applies to you whether you deployed to a combat zone or not. And that training, it worked. And it's still working, but that might also be part of the problem. Because here's what there is no course for. There's no field manual for coming back down. Roughly 200,000 people leave the military every year, and the official off-ramp, TAP, or the Transition Assistance Program, is about a week of resume slides and briefings. Your nervous system got years of training to speed up and then a PowerPoint to slow down. I remember this myself when I was separating from the Air Force back in 2015. It was a huge change from fast ops in the clinic, flying on the KC-135, deployment overseas. Everything slowed to a crawl, and I honestly had trouble paying attention during the lectures in the actual program. If you saw one of my prior videos on why veterans explode over small things, you know the gears. And if you haven't seen the video, don't worry, I'll link that video at the end of this one. Your transmission got rebuilt for 5th gear. Well, nobody put first and second back in. The military kept those. And then everyone acted surprised when you couldn't idle in a parking lot. So when that veteran says, they never teach us to be civilians, he's not really being bitter, he's being accurate. You were issued half a training program, the ramp up half. And you've been improvising the ramp down ever since then, alone, with no instructions, while everyone around you assumes it should just happen somehow. Now, the counterintuitive part. Because logically, we think that rest should help, right? More calm, more recovery, less stress. That's how it's supposed to work. Now, of course, rest and relaxation is important. We all know this. But when it gets extended or prolonged, it's a little bit different. And it's backwards for you when that happens, and here's why. A nervous system trained for threat doesn't have an off switch. It actually has a search function instead. So when you were in, that search function had a real job, real threats, real mission, real tempo. All that scanning energy had somewhere to go every single day. There was also a set focus and mission to accomplish every single day as well. Take the mission away and the scanner doesn't shut down. It just lowers its standards. It goes looking for a threat worthy of the machinery, but there isn't one. So it settles for what's available. The dishwasher was loaded wrong. The contractor who's 40 minutes late. The kid's shoes in the doorway again. That Navy pilot with the remodel? Textbook. 10 small frustrations a day, and each one is getting processed by hardware built for incoming fire. The problem was never the drywall guy. The problem is a threat detection system running at wartime sensitivity in a peacetime environment. And this is the thing nobody tells retirees. Structure wasn't just your schedule, it was your regulation. The military was doing an enormous amount of your emotional management for you, and it was happening externally. Wake up time, PT, so that physical output, clear tasks for the day, clear hierarchy, a reason to be tired at night. You retire and all of that scaffolding comes down at once, and everyone congratulates you on your newfound freedom, right? While your nervous system is quietly going into freefall. So more downtime, less external regulation, same internal alarm. That's why the guys who finally made it are the ones who are struggling. Which brings me to the second career, which many of you have done. Law enforcement, fire, corrections, federal service, first responders. If those comments are any indication, half of you went straight from one uniform into another. And I get it. It makes total sense. The skills transfer, the culture's familiar. And honestly, you felt better. The symptoms quieted down. But here's what actually happened. You didn't recover exactly. You found another environment that matches your calibration. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, it's just a reality. The job kept feeding the scanner real threats, kept the ops tempo up, kept doing your regulation for you. It didn't resolve the debt, it refinanced it. And I'm not saying, again, that it's a bad thing necessarily, but it's something that we have to recognize, be aware of, and understand. That Marine, 26 years plus 8 in law enforcement, he didn't struggle at year 26. He hit the wall at year 34 when he retired. And the second career didn't fix the transition, it postponed it with interest. And the NCO who quit the job he loved, same debt, called in early. I'm obviously not telling anyone to skip the second career. I'm telling you, don't confuse the symptoms are quiet with the work is done. The decompression bill comes due whenever the tempo finally stops, and it's better if we're prepared for that. Better to pay it on your schedule and on your dime than have it collected for you. All right, so what does deliberate decompression actually look like? Whether you're separating next month or you retired last year, same principles. Number 1, replace the physical tempo before you do anything else. Your body's used to discharging energy through effort. This is why cardiovascular exercise can be helpful for anxiety, panic attacks, and PTSD. You're finding a place to discharge that energy. Hard exercise isn't exactly self-improvement here, it's a pressure release valve. Most days, hard enough to actually be tired after. If you think back to your time in the military, you might remember this. PT in the morning, constant tasks and activities throughout the day, there's a mission. Come home, eat some food, do some chores, crash. This type of physical exercise after leaving the military or retiring is non-negotiable, and it's doing a lot more for your temper than any breathing technique. Bonus, our second heart is in our legs, in our calf muscles, and that second heart pushes blood flow back to the top of our body and our brain, so it's going to keep us healthy in other ways as well. Obviously, make sure to do a level of activity that's medically recommended based on your medical problems, and if you're in doubt, talk to your doctor about it. 2, rebuild external structure on purpose. Consistent wake-up time. A schedule that exists on paper, not just in your head. Let it be concrete. I know, it'll feel a little bit weird. You're retired, but why are you scheduling Tuesday, right? Why? Because for decades, structure was regulating you. It was guiding you. It was directing you. And you don't take away someone's regulation and then just call it freedom. You keep the scaffolding up while the internal system retrains, while that internal structure becomes stable and formed. 3. Give the scanner a real job. So not busy work, but an actual mission with stakes and other people counting on you. Lots of examples here, but it might be veterans organizations, nonprofit organizations, coaching, volunteering at a hospital, mentoring the next guy getting out, whatever appeals to you the most and has some type of structure and people to interact with and is obviously available in your area. The system needs something worth scanning for, and sometimes we get confused about this. Purpose in life doesn't always have to be something you're paid for, especially if you're retired. You can find something like one of the options I mentioned. Number 4, and this is the one people might skip the most. Practice low-stakes tolerance like it's a skill, because it is one, and this relates back to the gears video. The slow line at the store, practice that. The meeting that runs long. The house remodel that gets extended or rescheduled. Waiting on hold to refill your prescriptions. Calling the VA to make an appointment. Small doses on purpose while you're rested instead of getting ambushed by them at the end of a bad day. Yes, you're learning patience in a way, but you're also recalibrating what counts as a threat, one boring rep at a time. So what you're doing is you're building those gears that you're missing. And if you're 10, 20, 30 years past the window, it's the same list, seriously. Because whenever that ops tempo comes down, and that results in you being in an idle position, this is what you need to build, no matter what stage you're at. Maybe you're just separating and you've got some free time between that and your next job. The nervous system retrains at every age. Slower when you're older, sure, that's true, and the reps matter more, but there's no expiration date on this, and the window is not closed, no matter what anybody might tell you. It just stopped being automatic, and you have to build it back in. One more thing, and if your spouse is watching, this part's for both of you. Try saying it this way at home. I was trained to speed up for 20 years, and nobody ever trained me to slow down. I'm doing that training now, late, by myself. Obviously, you substitute the years for how many years you were in. But that sentence changes what your family is watching. They stop seeing a person who's angry at drywall and start seeing a person mid-retraining. It doesn't excuse the blowups. You still own those. We always maintain accountability as veterans, but it gives the people who love you an accurate picture instead of the story they've been understandably writing in their own heads. Because remember, when there's a vacuum of information, our brains will try to fill in those gaps and make sense of the reasons behind someone's actions. So look, if you've spent years wondering why you can lead people through the worst day of their lives, but can't survive a Tuesday at Home Depot, you're not broken. You're not weak, and you're definitely not alone. There were at least 483 people nodding at that one in the comments. You're half trained. The military built the ramp up, but not the ramp down. That's the missing piece. And unlike most things in this space, this piece is trainable, starting whenever you decide to start. Now, here's what I want to know in the comments, and I read these. How long did it take you to feel like a civilian again? And if the answer is, I'm still waiting, how many years out are you? If something has helped you retrain into civilian life, describe it below. It might just help someone reading it later. Last time, you all built the next 3 videos for me down there, so do it again. And if this one hit, the like button genuinely tells YouTube to show it to the next vet who needs it. And as promised, here's the video I mentioned earlier on why veterans explode over small things. And if you like this type of content, click over here to subscribe. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Dr. Sharma signing off. See you next time.